This is Rowdy's first time to shotgun anything. Chug, 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 chug. Anxiety.
Almost.
He almost got there. He had maybe that much left. He almost.
My stomach almost exploded.
Yeah,
no big deal.
I would have passed out by now.
If only it was a regular size can.
That's what she said. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Hello. We're in Rowdy's 2013 FRS. It's got a Cosworth Supercharger on it, putting out roughly around 270 wheelish, let's call it that. We're weighing in around 2,900 pounds. We are on a map 4, which is the most aggressive map, right? Yep. It's my first time ever driving one of these cars with anything more than stock power, so I'm like really excited because I always tell myself, I'm like, these cars can be so amazing if they just had more power. Everyone knows the FA20 is an absolute a garbage disposal motor, and unfortunately it is what it is, and that's what Subaru intended. Toyota, Subaru, they just wanted you to be able to modify this car because they knew that the clientele was going to modify the car. This car here with probably just about the perfect amount of power, would you say?
Yeah, for like what it is as a daily, it's been my daily for the past 4 years. It's perfect for me.
Speaking of Rowdy, he has a YouTube channel. I'm a very small fish, and he's also a very small fish, but he's got...
We're both working on it.
Yeah, we're both working on it. Your channel is Rowdy GT?
It's just Rowdy. I might change the name at some point, but...
it's Rowdy. Just Rowdy.
Just Rowdy.
If you are a Gran Turismo fan, you want to get some nostalgia going, you want some good 4K videos of Gran Turismo and 60 frames per second and just good quality content with some really funny bits, check him out.
I'm the guy.
Yeah, he's blowing up right now. Oh man, this is much better.
Yeah.
This is so much better than stock. This is so much better. Dude, I like this a lot. It's not gonna like just smack you in the back of the head, but the power delivery is so linear. And here we go. God, this is really good.
Louder to me right now, the engine.
A little what?
It sounds a little loud to me. It might just be placebo or something. Freaking out a little bit.
I'll be easy.
Yeah. Victor's also the only one who's driven my car, as far as I can remember.
Yes.
I think somebody drove it when I went to a racing class a few years ago.
One of the instructors?
Yeah.
Oh, it has red badge. Shit. Oops. Rotation. It has a little bit more rotation after I've taken a set, so you could actually rotate it a little bit more, even though you kind of don't want it to. I just noticed that it just kind of rotated after I wanted to upset it a little bit. Like I kicked it in and it just kind of kept going. Yep, just like that.
Do that a little bit.
And these tires are actually really grippy. Like they're really responsive. But in terms of like the rotation, I can see like, so would you say that you kind of dance along the edge whenever you're driving this on track, or does it kick out on you pretty hard, or can you actually like drive it really nicely?
It's been a while since I've gone, but most of the time I find myself understeering, but that might just be my driving style. I don't have that much experience with tracking yet, but I of course want to do more. It's just I'm not really comfortable doing it in this car just yet, going all out 100%.
Dude, that is crazy that you have understeer in this car. I feel like upon initial turn-in, it has a little bit of understeer, and then mid-corner, I feel like it's just like, okay, cool, we're gonna do this.
I mean, if you let off the throttle mid-corner, then you can really feel it start to rotate.
So it's almost like driving a mid-engine car. You want to lift off oversteer a little bit.
Yeah.
What kind of brakes you got?
So the front is EBC yellow stuff, and the rear is Hawk something. I'm not sure.
Say, how about fluid?
It's on modal.4.
Oh, okay, so you've got race brake fluid in here. There we go. Bye, Miata. God, it's just such a good, welcoming feeling from a stock FA20. Loads of grip. Just loads of grip. God, I freaking love this steering column. Like, this is one of the highlights of this car is just the steering right here.
That's one of my favorite things about it.
It's so good. It's so responsive. And this is an EPS, right?
EPS?
Electronic power steering.
Yep.
Like an assisted. God, look at this. Ah, yeah. Just want to get a feel for the cornering, man. That's all. Got to work the momentum. Like this thing is a little bit more than a momentum car.
Yeah. It's more of a thrasher.
Yeah, I like that. This car just beckons you to drive it really hard. It's very welcoming. Like, that's one thing I could describe about this car. Like, I feel like I've been driving this car for a while. I mean, I feel like this is just a really, really comfortable car.
I think people can learn really fast in this.
It talks really well. Doesn't seem like it will bite you or get upset. I feel like it won't snap on you if you're doing some crazy stuff on a track. This rev match is so weird to have in this car.
Oh, you're using it now?
Yeah, it's sitting in there, and it's.
I mean, I'm used to it.
It's a very nice feature to have.
Yeah.
It is nice.
For my foot, at least, I haven't gotten used to like actual heel toe, but I can do like the sidestep kind of downshifting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's because your gas pedal is like really far away from the brake pedal itself. Yeah. Like it's out there, dude. You can just swing this. That's the best way to describe this car. Is it just swings into corners.
Yeah.
Like, you can literally chuck this thing into corners, and it's just like, okay, cool. I'm exactly where you wanted me to go. I'm exactly where you chucked me.
And I really love the sound of this thing too.
This thing sounds great.
Yeah.
This is perfect, man.
Yeah.
This car is the perfect front engine, rear-wheel drive Japanese sports car.
And there's not much more of these around.
I was gonna say, people,
especially something as mod friendly as this.
People go for Miatas. Like, me personally, I've owned so many Miatas. It's just like I'm not a convertible guy though. Like this right here, this is a true sports coupe. Like, this is a sports car.
And it's not crammed with a bunch of useless tech.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of the new stuff does. Like, it doesn't have lane keep assist or super advanced traction control and Android Auto.
No, this is a driver's car, and that's the beauty of this car. I love how raw it is. You're absolutely right. Like, I feel like, and the chassis is such a good chassis. Like, I thought you had some sort of coilovers or something, but
yeah,
this chassis is so cohesive. There is minimal flex, and it blows my mind that the newer FRS BRZ that's coming out has, what they said, like 40 or 50% torsional rigidity than this car, which this car is like driving a steel a steel tub, if you will. So it kind of like turns it a little bit more, and you get on. Traction control is like, nope.
Yeah,
So when
traction control kind of screws you over.
I was gonna say that definitely did, but when you turn it off, you can, I feel like you can kick it a little bit and just let it plant and go. I've often said that the S chassis was the car to have, and then whenever back in like 2008, I was like, I don't know why that's so specific, but back in like say 2008, I was talking about how the Infiniti G, G35 coupes and all that, like the 05, the 06s are going to be the new S chassis. Sure enough, you're starting to see a lot of clapped out G35s out there, and they're kind of the new gas chassis, but those are starting to appreciate in price. So they've bottomed out, and then now we have Zs and 370Zs. All that stuff is kind of bottomed out, and we've got these guys starting to come into the market as a welcome option. So if you have a solid budget, if 8 to 12 grand, I mean, I think this one's worth more for sure, but it's a no-brainer. Like, if you're looking for something JDM, which is always a plus for me, if you want something daily drivable, if you want something that has potential to be a racetrack car or a drift car or time attack, Auto X, whatever you want, even if you want this car as a rally car, I would think this car would be great as a rally car.
Some people, I even know like a few people that have built theirs like that, like they'll put a lift kit in.
Yes.
Tires.
Like, I know Miata's always the answer, but that's old news. Rowdy, Supercharged FRS. This is awesome car. Thanks for letting me do a little light thrashing. Very little light thrashing. Just a little. I just had to feel it in the corners. That's what I want to do, is feel the corners. But yeah, let's go put this guy on the tier list, and let's see where it places. Are you anxious?
I think I'll do pretty good.
I think you'll be fine. I already know. I already know exactly where it's going to go. Howdy y'all, welcome back to the tier list. We're going to be placing Rowdy's FRS with the Cosworth Stage 2 Supercharger. If we had to put a stage on this, since I know people love stages so much, I guess it would be a Stage 2. I really hate that people use stages for modifications on cars. I mean, I know it would be cool to be like levels for Forza or RPGs if you were doing that kind of thing, but oh well. Let's get this out of the way. As far as the drivetrain goes, the FA20 is not my favorite motor, as it is a Boxster. Not a huge fan of those, because they're pretty good whenever you add performance boosts, pun intended, as such a turbo or a supercharger. However, problems tend to rear their ugly head. During the time I was driving Rowdy's car, he was sweating quite a bit and would make small remarks about how he heard a new noise and he doesn't know what that is. Rowdy got some Blackstone readouts and everything came back just fine, so I didn't blow up his car. It's still running to this day. The transmission is solid, it's notchy, good long throws, it's direct, not a whole lot to write about on this one. In terms of the clutch, that felt great because it is a Southbend Stage 2 quote-unquote daily clutch, so it had a good amount of feedback to it. Wasn't too soft, but wasn't too stiff. It's not a leg workout whenever you're getting on the clutch. The chassis, definitely my favorite thing about these cars is just how robust and really steel tubby feel that these cars have. As far as when you're driving it, when you're taking corners, there's not a whole lot of chassis flex whatsoever. They are a fantastic platform just because a nice even weight distribution on this car with a neutral, nice handling setup. In terms of the actual suspension setup itself, Rowdy has just basic TRD lowering springs, some TSW Nürburgring wheels 18 by 8 inches around, square setup with some Firehawk Indy 500 tires, which were actually surprisingly pretty decent. I know those tires to be sort of the cheaper alternative to a lower tread wear tire, but I actually was pretty surprised by them. I felt pretty good communication with them. Obviously did not have a chance to push the car super hard. The brakes I'm very familiar with because it's the same type of brakes I used on my ND Miata. Fronts were EBC yellow and the rear were Hawk rear brake pads. Don't know what kind, stainless steel brake lines, so it was good to modulate the brakes, even though I didn't have heel toe and downshift this car, considering he had the rev match on, which I thought was pretty cool. Overall, I very much enjoyed this car. Completely changed with the Supercharger in terms of how the car is in general. I'm used to these cars as really riding momentum just to get them to go anywhere. This one, with all that extra added power, was fantastic. I had a really good time with it. It was really intoxicating to just kind of keep getting on it and going through the rev band. Power band was really nice and stout all the way throughout. It didn't really die. Nicely built up top. Chassis pretty much perfect for me, and I really mean whenever I say this is an S chassis replacement. I know that G35s and 350s exist, however, there is a more abundant market for these cars. With the new FRS or GT86 and the new BRZ out, I feel like these are gonna kind of go down a little bit. I hope that the owners someday traverse to the newer chassis, and I hope to one day drive one of the newer chassis. But until then, these cars are a worry-free experience whenever you start modifying the chassis, the suspension, the brakes. Whenever you get to the engine, that's a different story. I really enjoy the car. I just think if I were to ever get one, I would look into an engine swap at some point in time. In terms of putting this guy in the tier list, hold on, let me rearrange some stuff. We're going to firmly place this guy right in between Charles's MR2 and my old ND. I really enjoyed my old ND with the tune. Obviously the power was lacking in it, but I didn't feel like I really craved more power in that car, although more would have been nice. However, the biggest caveat to putting the GT86 in front of my ND was the fact that the steering feel itself on this car is phenomenal. Even though it's still an EPS steering setup, it feels really nice, direct, and fantastically weighted without feeling too faux. My ND, on the other hand, the steering was a little bit too light for my feeling, a little too over boosted, but not direct. I don't mind over boosted steering as long as the wreck has a good weight to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and check out Rowdy's YouTube channel where he does Gran Turismo videos. This will be my last video on the street, as I'm going to address this in another up and coming video. I plan to move it elsewhere, and the big reveal is coming sometime very soon where I'll actually be able to make more consistent content without having to worry about driving on the street. Thank you so much for your time. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's all free. I hope to see you guys in the future. Bye.